Hey guys, we are on page 319 and 320 in our math books. Of course, page 319, we're going to do all of it. And on 320, we're going to do number 2, number 3, number 5, and the homework section at the bottom, just A, B, and C. Okay, so this is number 1, letter A from page 319. It's just like the problems that we did yesterday, except we're just adding one number right here, which means we're just adding one round of steps. That's all it means, just like whenever we normally have a 3-digit problem. So let's go ahead and look at this. Now, first thing that might draw your eye automatically is this red line right here. And what is that red line drawn over? It's just drawn over that 8 and 4. Now, this whole number right here is 840. But we want to look at just the numbers 8 and 4 as its own numbers, just 84. And that kind of helps us, just like we mentioned yesterday, kind of helps us get a better mental picture of what we're doing in this problem. So we have this 20 that needs to be divided, because it's my first step. 20 needs to be divided into some part of this number. Now, 20 is not going to go into 8 any amount of times. It's going to go into 0 times, because 20 multiplied by 1 is already 20. That's already way past 8. So if you want to, probably would be a good idea, draw a 0 above the 8 so that we know that there's not going to be any number above the 8, and so that we're not leaving any blank spaces, because we don't like blank spaces in math. So we have 20 will go into, well, we're going to first do into 84, because we have a 2-digit number here, it needs to go into a 2-digit number. It's just how things kind of work with math. So that's why they drew that red line above that 8 and that 4, so that we can kind of look at it more like an 84 instead of 840. And kind of helps us to break it down a little bit more. So let's go ahead and do that first step. Let's look at the 2 and the 8. Those are the only 2 numbers that we're going to focus on, and it kind of will help us break it down a little bit more. So we're going to go 2 into 8. We're not actually going 2 into 8, but just to help us kind of think of it more in those terms. So I know 2 will go into 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 4 times. If 2 will go into 8 4 times, then 20 might go into 84 4 times. So let's try that. So put a 4 above the 4, because it's the ones place of the number that we're going into, 84. 4 times 20, well, let's go ahead and write it over here. We have 20 times 4. 4 times 0 is 4, or not 4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 80 right here. Let's go ahead and put 80 over here. Subtract, because that's my next step. 4 minus 0 is 4, and 8 minus 8 is 0. And now I have 4 right here as the number that's left over. So I say 4 is smaller than 20. That's my compare. 4 is smaller than 20. It's true. It's a good comparison. And now my next step is to bring down. Now before, I didn't have that 0 there, like in yesterday's problems. But today, I do have it there, and I can bring it down, so I will bring it down. So it gets brought down, and now I have 20 into 40. Well, again, I'm just going to look at this tens place right here, and this tens place right here. I'm going to look into at 20 goes into 40. I'm going to think of it as 2 into 4. I'm just going to look at my tens place. 2 into 4. Well, I know 2 will go into 4, 2, 4, 2 times. So I need to do 20 will go into 40 the same amount of times. 2. Put 2 above the 0. And now I have to do 2 times 20. So I'm going to put it down here. 2 times 20. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. My answer right here is 40. I'm going to write it up here. 40. My next step is to subtract. So put my subtraction right there. I have 40 minus 40 is 0. And my remainder will be 0. And my answer is 42. Make sure you're also doing the check over here. I'm not going to do it with you. It's 42 times 20. Actually, yeah, let's do the check together now that I'm looking at it. So we have check right here. I have 42 times 20. Let's go ahead and do it. Well, I know 0 times anything is going to be 0, so 0 times 2 is 0, 0 times 4 is 0, and now I'm multiplying that 2 in the tens place. I need to put a 0 underneath that 0 right here. A lot of zeros going on. And then I'm going to do 2 times 2, and then 2 times 4. So 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. Add those together. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4, and 8 plus nothing is 8. So I have 840 right here. Does that match with my number up there? Absolutely. So I'm going to say my answer is checked. My next problem, letter B, we have 40 will go into 520. But again, we're going to kind of narrow it down a little bit. We're not going to look at this as 520. We're going to look at this as a first step. 40 into 52. So we know that 40 will go into 5 0 times. So let's go ahead and just put a 0 above the 5, because we already know that. So now we're doing 40 into 52. Well, again, we're looking at this 4 right here. We're just going to look at my tens place, my 4 and my 5. Well, I know that 4 will go into 5 one time. I mean, 4 times 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is 8. So, 5 got passed over really fast. So 4 will go into 5 one time. So that means that 40 will go into 52 probably one time, just using my common sense and logic there. So I'm going to put 1 above the 2, since 40 will go into 52 one time. And then I'm going to do 1 times 40. Well, I know what 1 times 40 is. 1 times anything is whatever this number was. So I'm going to put 40 right here, because I know 1 times 40 is 40. And I'm going to subtract, because it's my next step. 2 minus 0 is 2. 5 minus 4 is 1. So I have 12 as my leftover number down here. Now I have to compare. 12 is smaller than 40. It is smaller than 40, so that's a good comparison. And my next step is to bring down. I'm going to bring this 0 down. 0. Now here, I'm going to still look at my 4. This was where it gets maybe a little bit trickier, or it could get trickier. I'm not just going to look at the 2 or the 1. I'm going to look at them both together. The 12, right? That 1 and that 2 together is 12, and this 4 right here is just 4. So if I say 4 will go into 12 how many times? Well, I know how to do that. I can do that easily. So I'm going to go 4 into 12, 4, 8, 12, that's 3. So I will say 40 will go into 120 probably about 3 times, if I were to make a guess. So I'm going to put a 3 above that 0, because that's what got brought down. 3 times 40. Let's go ahead and write that over here. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. So my answer right here is 120. And that gets written over here. So I'm going to write 120. And I'm going to subtract that. 120 minus 120 is 0. Write that down. And I can't bring anything else down. 0, of course, is smaller than 40, so my problem would be considered done right now. And I want you to do the check on your own for this problem. Last problem on this page. We have 70 will go into 840 how many times? So, again, we'll start with 70. I know 70 is not going to go into 8 any amount of times, so I'm just going to put a 0 above that 8 just to start off with. Start off with the easy stuff. So now I have 70 will go into 84, because that's what's kind of, it's not underlined, but there's a line drawn above the 84. And 70 will go into 84 how many times? Well, let's look at the ones place of the 7. The tens place of the 70, which is 7. and the tens place of the 84, which is 8. And I know that 7 will go into 8 one time, so I can probably guess that 70 will go into 84 probably one time. So I'll put a 1 above the 84. 1 times 70, well, I know that right off the top of my head. 1 times anything is itself. So I'm going to put 70 right there because 1 times 70 is 70. And I need to subtract now. 4 minus 0 is 4. Eight minus 7 is 1. So my remainder is 14. Is 14 smaller than 70? Absolutely. So 14 is smaller than 70. It's a good comparison. Now I'm going to bring down this 0, and I'm left with 140. Well, again, just like we did with the last problem, I'm not going to just look at this 7 and the 1, or the 7 and the 4. I'm still looking at this tens place, but this tens place kind of goes into the hundreds place as well. So we'll look at the tens and hundreds place for this one. So I have 70 will go into 140, or I could think of it like 7 will go into 14. Well, I know 7 and 14. I can do that in my head. I know 7 will go into 14 2 times. So above this 0, we'll write 2. And we need to do 70 times 2, so let's go and do that. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 7 is 14. So my answer is 140. It gets written over here. 140. I'm going to subtract, and 140 minus 140, well, I know that's 0. So write 0. And it seems like my answer is this 12 up here. And again, you need to make sure you do the check. I'm going to let you do the check on your own. And let's go ahead, when you're finished with the rest of this page, just the checks basically, we'll go over to page 320. Let's go ahead and look at page 320, number 2. Let's look at that story problem. It says, at the store, Mrs. Enders bought 3 pounds of peaches at $2.49 per pound, 2 loaves of bread at $6.78 per pound. Oh, I'm sorry, no, 2 loaves of bread for $6.78, a pound of butter for $4.25, and cereal for $4.93. So how much did she spend altogether? Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have $2.49 for peaches. We have, let's see, 2 loaves of bread for $6.78. We have $6.78. We have butter for $4.25. And one more thing. It's a cereal for $4.93. So they want to know how much she spent if she bought all of this. Now, here's the problem. A couple things. Now, for example, like I think this first one up here was peaches. It said that it was $2.49 per pound. And she didn't just buy 1 pound of it, so it's not $2.49 that she spent on it. It was $2.49 per pound, and she bought more than 1 pound. How many pounds did she buy of peaches? Right, I believe it says 3 pounds. So I need to do a little bit of extra math. So let's leave this $2.49 up here, put it up here, and we're going to multiply it, because that's what that word per means. Multiply it by what? Right, by 3, because she bought 3 pounds of it. So we have 3 times $2.49. Let's go and do that. 3 times 9 is 27. Carry the 2. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus the 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus the 1 is 7. And I have my decimal point right here. I need to go ahead and We have 1, 2 decimal points, 1, 2 places in my decimal. And so she spent how much on peaches? Right. $7.47. So let's erase this number up here and put the correct amount. So it's $7.47. Are there any more numbers up here that are like that? Okay, it says she bought 2 loaves of bread for $6.78. Now, it says 2 loaves of bread for $6.78. Does it say each loaf of bread was $6.78? No. So this is how much she spent on both loaves of bread, so we'll leave that. This is how much she spent on butter. She bought 1 pound of butter for $4.25. So we'll leave that because that's how much she spent on the butter. And she bought the cereal for $4.93. It doesn't say per box or anything or how many boxes she bought. It's just that's how much she spent on it. So I think all the rest of these numbers are good. So let's go ahead and add them together. Whenever you're trying to find out how much someone spent and you have a list of numbers like this, we always add them together. So we have 7 plus 8. Well, I know 7 plus 8 is 15. Plus the 5 is 20. Plus 3, 20 plus 3 is 23. Carry the 2 up here. I have a lot of numbers. We have a 7 and a 9. I can do that first. Those are bigger numbers. 7 plus 9, I know, is 16. So we have 16 plus 4. Well, I know 6 plus 4 is 10, so 16 plus 4 must be 20. Plus 2 is 22. Plus another 2 is 24. 2 goes up here. I have, let's see. I have 6 plus 4, I know is 10. Plus 7 is 17. 17, 18, 19. 19 plus this 4 down here. 19 plus 4, well 9 plus 4 is 13. So 19 plus 4 has to be 23. I need to make sure when you're writing these, your decimal points are lined up. And I need to make sure I write my decimal point down here. And it's a dollar amount, so make sure we also write a dollar amount for that. And this should be your answer. I'm going to go ahead and let you work on number 3, number 5 in that homework section at the bottom of the page on your own. There's not too much that's left. It's just averaging and knowing your temperatures and things like that. There are some thermometers if you wanted to do that on your own, but I'm not going to say that you have to do them. But if you do like to do them, if you do enjoy doing them, maybe if you think you need a little extra practice, it might be a good idea to do. So go ahead and finish up the rest of page 319 and 320.